Breeo and Solo Stove are the two brand names that have become synonymous with smokeless fire pits, and if you're in the market to make a purchase, you're probably trying to decide which of these two options is best for you. I'm David Gafford, and I test more than 70 outdoor cooking and outdoor living products per year to help you make informed purchase decisions and get the right gear for you. With summer winding down, it means that fire pit season is making a comeback. So we're comparing the Solo Stove Yukon and the Breeo X24 smokeless fire pits today. We're going to explore things like build quality, heat output, ease of use, and a whole lot more, so let's get started. First and foremost, I feel like it's important to let you know that Breeo fire pits are made right here in the US, Lancaster, Pennsylvania to be exact. While Solo Stove's headquarters is located down in Texas, their products are made overseas in China. So if buying American-made products is important to you, score 1 point for Breeo. So now that we know where those fire pits are manufactured, I can talk about the price. Breeo products are more expensive than what you'll find from the competition because they're made here domestically. This Breeo X24 fire pit in Corten steel costs $599. I'll talk a little bit more about the Corten steel finish in just a minute, but you can also get this same fire pit in stainless steel for $200 more. The stainless steel Solo Stove Yukon retails for about $450, but you'll need to factor in another $60 for the stand, which I would definitely recommend. Both brands also offer smaller fire pits at a lower price point, so if you're interested in those, you can watch this video next where we compare the Solo Stove Bonfire and the Breeo Y series. Prices are always changing, so make sure you click the links down in the description to find the best price. We also have discount codes available for you to use with both brands, so check those out here on the screen and in the description below to save yourself some money if you're thinking about a purchase. In just a second, I'm going to talk about the build quality of both of these fire pits, but before I do, I want to pass a question on to you. It seems like there's two different camps of people when it comes to owning a fire pit. One camp is, I want my fire pit to look pristine all the time, brand new, just like it's out of the box. And then there's another camp of people who are the treat your fire pit like a fire pit kind of a camp, where you want to be able to throw a log in, you don't care about dings and dents and things on the side marking it up. I'm curious, which camp are you in? Let us know down in the comments how you think a fire pit should be treated and why, and let's continue the discussion. Okay, let's talk about this Corten steel finish for a second. This fire pit is literally designed to rust on purpose. When it first arrived, it was a blue-gray steel, but over the course of the past year, sitting outside on our patio in the rain and snow, it has developed an exterior patina that gives it the signature Breeo rustic look. We've allowed our patina to develop naturally with no assistance, but some people aren't as patient, and Breeo even offers instructions on their website on how to expedite the process. So what's the point in using a material that's designed to rust? What's the advantage of that? You might have heard of Corten steel before. It's used in the design of buildings, bridges, and other architectural features that you see all around us in the world today. Apparently, the patina you see is actually a corrosion-resistant coating that protects it from rusting beyond the surface. Like I said earlier, if the patina look isn't your jam, you can pay more for the 304 stainless steel option of the X24. Now, the Solo Stove Yukon is made of 304 stainless steel. However, they do also offer their fire pits with a ceramic coating in a variety of colors for a little bit more. I can't speak to the color options and their durability since I've never had one here at the lab to test with, but I'm curious, those of you watching this video, have you purchased one of those color options for Solo Stove? And if you have, how's the durability? How does it stand up to the weather? How does that finish look after the first month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year? Comment down below and let us know how they're holding up for you so we can help others make informed purchase decisions. Since both of these fire pits are double walled, it's really difficult to get you measurements of the gap between the interior and the exterior wall and also the thickness of the metal. But I will say that the X24 is about 20 pounds heavier than the Yukon and definitely feels more durable. I wouldn't say that the Solo Stove seems fragile by any means, but I would say that it's more likely to dent than the Breeo if you're dropping logs from a significant height when you're adding them. Let's break out the tape measure and compare the sizes of these two units. Here on the Yukon, we're looking at about 15.5 inches from the bottom of the fire pit to the top of the fire pit. But if you include the stand, you can see that we're right around 18 inches high from the stand all the way to the top of the unit. When you add the ring to the top, you're also going to get another 2 inches of vertical height. Measuring from the top of the removable ash pan to the top of the fire pit is about 10 inches, and you can add another 2 inches on top of that for how much space you have to actually put logs inside this fire pit. The opening with the ring on top is right at 19.5 to 19.75 inches, but if you remove the ring, the opening is 24 inches inside to inside. Outside to outside, we're looking at 26.25 inches. Over here on the Breeo side, if we measure from the ground to the top of the Breeo, we're right around 14.75, just under 15 high. If we're looking at the opening from inside to inside, we have right at 22 inches here on the Breeo. If we go outside to outside, we are at 27.5 inches. The height inside the fire pit is right around 11.5 inches for how much height you can use to put firewood inside. For those of you who are curious about the height of the X that increases the airflow from the bottom of the fire pit, it's right around 1.5 inches of raised X in the bottom for when you're laying out logs and things, but that's where your air is coming in from the bottom of this fire pit. When you look at the interior measurements and the dimensions of those fire pits, it's going to tell us the length of wood that you can put in each. But I want to also mention here that you can use wood pellets to fire both of these fire pits. With the Breeo, you can just add pellets to the bottom, light it, and you're ready to go. On the Solo Stove side, they suggest using their pellet adapter so less pellets fall through the grate on the bottom of the fire pit. But there's plenty of users all over the internet using this fire pit as it is with pellets, so you can try it either way. By the way, if you're getting value out of this video, be sure to hit that like button and let us know. In just a minute, we're going to look at the actual fires that you can get out of these fire pits. But before we do, I want to take a second and make sure that I explain how smokeless fire pits work. Both Breeo and Solo Stove have designed their fire pits similarly in that they are double-walled with some type of air intake on the bottom and air exhaust holes along the top interior. Cool air enters the gap between the double walls from the bottom. Now, while the fire heats up the walls, the hot air rises, and as it exits the holes along the top, the oxygen mixes with the smoke and causes a secondary combustion. This is how you get a fire to be smokeless. The emphasis on the less. They're not smoke-free fire pits, they're smoke-less fire pits, but there's a couple of things that you can do to make your fire smoke less. First, always use dry hardwood to make your fire. Second, the hotter you can get your fire, the less smoke you'll see and smell. And third, keep your wood below that line of exhaust holes. Secondary combustion only works to kill the smoke below that level, so if you're building your fire higher than that, you're going to have to be okay with some smoke. It's time to light some fires. Let's go ahead and get these things roaring so we can show you what secondary combustion looks like in the Breeo X24 and the Solo Stove Yukon. As you can see, both fire pits burn very similarly, but is there a difference in how they distribute heat? Smokeless fire pits tend to get a bad rap for not radiating enough heat outwards, since their design is to send that heat straight up in the air. So we've built a thermometer rig to test the air temperature at various heights around the fire. We'll be measuring the air temperature at 1, 2, 3, and 4 foot heights to see if there is any difference in how these fire pits distribute heat. According to our measurements using the ThermalWorks Signals 4-channel thermometer, the 1 foot height barely got any heat at all. But the 2 foot height, we started seeing a dramatic difference. So at 1 foot, we're measuring 69 degrees, 2 foot, we have 87 degrees, 3 feet, we have the 92 degree range, and 4 feet, 88 degrees on the Yukon. On the Breeo, we're seeing 75 degrees at 1 foot, 79 degrees at 2 feet, 77 degrees at 3 feet, and our hottest temperature of 85 degrees at the 4-foot mark. Both brands sell heat deflectors as accessories to help solve the heat distribution issue. So let's add the heat deflectors to each fire pit and see if that changes things. For the deflector analysis, we found that the Solo Stove Fire just flat out burned a little bit hotter than the Breeo Fire did. As we take a look at the data that we got back from the fire pits with the deflectors on, we're noticing that the Solo Stove deflector is giving us hotter temperatures at higher elevation. At the 4-foot mark, we were getting much higher readings than we were at any of the other 3 stations, but we're finding that the deflector is evening out the heat quite a bit more than what we were finding without the deflector on the Solo Stove. On the Breeo side, we found that the deflector evened out all 4 levels of temperature measurement, but it was lower than we expected from the Breeo. We were expecting higher temperatures, and with the deflector, we actually saw lower temperatures with this fire pit. That being said, Melissa took some time just to sit by each fire pit, and the Breeo, she said, was incredibly hot, and she couldn't stay there very long. She had to actually move back because it's quite warm, even though we were showing a little bit lower temperatures than what we expected. When it comes to cleaning out the ash, Solo Stove has the clear advantage here. The Yukon 2.0 has a removable ash pan and base plate that really simplifies the cleanup process. Breeo isn't quite so easy. You either have to dig in with a scoop or an ash shovel and dig around the raised X on the floor, or break out the shop vac after the ash is fully cool. Lifting the X24 to flip over and dump all of the ash out is pretty much a non-starter because of the weight of this fire pit. Cleaning the Breeo is just admittedly more work. I mentioned the Breeo ash shovel, but both brands have a lot of quality accessories that I want to call out here before we move on. On the Breeo side, we love the furniture, and our guests always appreciate the cup holders and tray. We also love the Breeo base to protect our pavers from any rust runoff. Other than that, we really like the Solo Stove fire pit tools, and especially the roasting sticks. Both brands offer a spark screen that helps cut down on the rogue embers that occasionally like to pop out during a fire. They also have a variety of cooking accessories, from grills to pizza ovens. We did a video a little while back comparing the cooking options on both Breeo and Solo Stove, so check it out in the card up here if you'd like to see what these fire pits are like as your cooking appliance. I know a lot of you get really frustrated when I don't declare a winner on all of these, but that's just not what we do. My goal is to give you all of the information you need so you can make an educated choice on which fire pit is right for you. And to be perfectly honest, in this comparison, you really can't go wrong either way. Both fire pits are well made, they perform as they should, and they both have excellent customer service. Is it important to you to buy American-made products? If that's true, go with Breeo. How important is ease of cleanup to you? If that's super important, you want to go with Solo Stove. Do you appreciate the rustic look and want to treat your fire pit like a fire pit? Then I'd go with Breeo. Do you prefer the sleek and the shine of a stainless steel fire pit? Well, then you could really go with both. Solo Stove and Breeo both have gorgeous stainless steel options. At this point, it's up to you to let your budget and personal preferences decide who the winner of this head-to-head is. So I want you to go down in the comments and let us know after watching this video, which one is the winner for you and what helped you make that decision. If you're considering making a purchase from Solo Stove or Breeo, check out these discount codes that will save you some serious cash on your purchase. I'm David Gafford from the Barbecue Lab, and behind the camera is my beautiful wife, Melissa. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.